And welcome back. We are now at part 4, which should be the final part of second week in May's new comics bitches. Okay, so again, just picking up where I left off. FF number 3, definitely a really good book. Again, if you're not totally familiar with what exactly is going on, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, you have to be somewhat familiar with the Fantastic Four's past, but not overly, because I'm not one of those guys who is overly familiar with what's gone on over the years. I've just kind of been into it since the death of Johnny Storm. But it's been one of those things where I've picked up issues here and there over the years because it's important to know about this stuff. And I have all of the the bound hardcover editions of official handbook of the Marvel Universe, all of those. So even the old ones I have too, because I love that, because it's the whole it's the whole history of the character. So that I think is super cool. And this stuff gets as recent as Secret Invasion. So anyway, so moving on to the big event comic of the week, because we have two big events going on. In Marvel, you have Fear Itself. In DC, you have Flashpoint. Flashpoint number 1, and this looks to be interesting too. Basically what's going on here is we've got Barry Allen, the Flash, one of the Flashes. Is Wally okay? To somebody who may know, is Wally West? I mean, A, is he still alive? B, is he still a Flash? Because I know that since Barry Allen came in, he's pretty much been the focal point of the comics. So, so we got Barry in the Flash Rebirth. Basically, one of the things that Barry was looking into was his mother's death, his mother's murder, I should say. And in Flash Rebirth, we discovered that it was, of course, Professor Zoom, the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, who had actually killed his mother. Now, Barry, of course, he's still working at the, he's working at the crime lab in Central City. He goes, he kind of catches some Z's while he's on the job, and then wakes up, and the whole fucking world has changed. His mother's still alive. His father's dead. I mean, his father's been dead, but his father died. His mother's still alive, and he has no Flash powers. And he's asking about, where's Superman? Where's, you've heard of the Flash? No, I've never heard of the Flash. So it's really what the hell is going on. And, but then, of course, he asks about Batman. Where's Batman? And, and she knows Batman, because Batman still does exist. He's a lot more brutal in this incarnation of him, in this alternate reality of him. Gotham City is littered with all of these Wayne buildings, Wayne casinos, Wayne hotels, everything, it's everything Wayne all the time. And he is about to kill basically this Batman's about to kill someone. He throws them off of a roof, and they're captured, and they're caught by Cyborg. Cyborg actually, saves their life. But, Batman wouldn't have. So it's like, okay, well, this is obviously a bit different. And Cyborg is, he's gotten some people together, these new kind of heroes. Avon Sur is still alive. There's a character called the Outsider. There's an enchantress that looks like a kind of, a really, hot version of, somebody who would just be in a witch costume. There's Element Woman, who is obviously supposed to be kind of like this metamorpho, but as a female. There's Citizen Cold, as opposed to Captain Cold. And everybody, he's like playing at a good guy, but he might actually be a bad guy. There's the Pied Piper. It's just, this really motley crew. And then these 7 kids that that form that all have the individual attributes of Shazam. Speed. Like the strength of the wisdom of Solomon, the courage of Achilles, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, Abin Sur is still alive, so there's never a Hal Jordan. Yeah, so I mean, it's just he's trying to Cyborg is trying to team all of these people up to take down Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Now, Aquaman and Wonder Woman have really really fucked up the world. Basically, Europe and England are constantly at war. Millions upon millions of people are dead because the Themyscirans, the Amazons, have taken over one island. I don't know if they were the ones that they took over England and have massacred pretty much every man there. And then Arthur of Atlantis has submerged a great deal of the rest of Europe. So millions upon millions died there too, and they're in this battle for supremacy. They just both seem to be really bad people. But basically what's going on is that Barry Allen is trying to get his ass to Gotham City so that he can talk to Batman, and that's where we get the big reveal. Batman is not Bruce Wayne. And that's where the story gets interesting, and that's where it gets kind of cool. And that's why I'm looking forward to the next issue of Flashpoint, because it's like, okay, this is pretty neat now. I mean, it's Jeff Johns, he's obviously a very talented writer, and he does all of the mega events for DC, that's for sure. At least he has since Infinite Crisis, and that's 2005. So all the major things are orchestrated and pretty much written by Jeff Johns. Andy Kubert, great art. He's a great artist, so I mean, I had no doubt that it was going to be really good art there. I haven't seen his stuff in a while too, so I was glad to see his stuff again. So that took, of course, longer than I had hoped. So Flashpoint is something that I would definitely keep picking up. I don't know if I'm going to be reading too much of the peripheral stuff. I am getting the secret. I did put in my pull box the Secret Seven stuff because that's a team I'm interested in finding out more about. But like the rest of the stuff is just kind of like, I don't really care. As long as they tell the main story in Flashpoint, then I'll be satisfied with that. I don't know if I really need, unless like Fear itself, where the actual peripheral stories are actually better than what goes on in the actual issues themselves. The same kind of thing actually happened during Final Crisis, where I was actually, no, I'm sorry, so Jeff Johns didn't write that. That was Grant Morrison. So my mistake, sorry. But Final Crisis, but Jeff Johns did do, I think, the most interesting side story, which was about the Rogues, Flash's Rogues Gallery. So that was cool. That would actually turn out to be better than Final Crisis, because, I mean, for the life of me, I couldn't understand what the fuck was going on there. And I think some of you were probably in there with me. I just thought that was a big, huge mess of a, game changer, shaking up the status quo kind of comic. I don't think that Flashpoint's going to do that. I don't think it's really intended to be that way. Again, this is just, it's an alternate universe type of issue, but it's not an Elseworlds tale at the same time. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but I am very interested to find out more. So we're going to be back in just a few ticks with Book of the Week. So see you in a few.